NASCAR, America's favorite stock car racing series. How we love it, but oh how can we hate it all at the same time. However, across America, one thing remains the same. Short track racing is everywhere. Whether it's on dirt or on pavement, chances are there's a short track near you for you to experience the sights, sounds, and excitement of short track racing. Whether it's in the hills and mountains of Claiborne County, Tennessee with the bad, fast Tazewell Speedway, or if you're into hustling and bustling big city home of country music, hot chicken, and Titans football, Nashville, you can find a Nashville Fairground Speedway in order to satisfy that racing gene deep within your soul. Shoot, there's even a short dirt track in Hilo, Hawaii. Short track racing is just a huge throwback to classic days of racing in NASCAR, hence why a lot of fans often want to see NASCAR return to more short tracks on the schedule. Places like Bristol Motor Speedway have received major investments into the facility to develop it from a simple small-town short track into a major icon of short track racing. In fact, they have hosted some of the greatest events in short track racing over the years, including most recently the 2017 Short Track Nationals hosted at Bristol Motor Speedway, which as someone fortunate enough to have been able to attend this, it was awesome. And quite frankly, I think it was a better show than the NASCAR All-Star race that happened that same day. And fortunately, even if it feels as though the cars and racing style has changed a lot for Bristol and NASCAR over the last few years, it's still one of a couple short tracks that NASCAR includes on their 36-week schedule twice a year. Bristol Motor Speedway is truly NASCAR's Saturday night football stadium. In fact, they even hosted college football's largest football game between the Virginia Tech Hokies and the triumphant Tennessee Volunteers in 2016. That one event was groundbreaking and called for major changes to the racing facility, including the addition of Colossus TV. An addition so huge that it not only makes the racing experience better, but it also opens the venue to more major events like more football games, maybe even an NFL game, Titans versus Redskins maybe. I'm sure Dale Jr. would like that idea. Maybe even making Bristol Motor Speedway a potential future home to WrestleMania. I'm just saying. They'd set an all-time unbeatable attendance record. However, even though Bristol has developed into the mecca of all short tracks, we have sadly seen many of NASCAR's former great short tracks fade away into wastelands. Long gone are the days of North Wilkesboro and Rockingham. And although I adapted just fine with this new generation of NASCAR, it is easy to see what many older and now former fans of NASCAR mean when they say, it's just nothing like the good old days of NASCAR. However, I'm grateful for all of the legendary moments that NASCAR has given us on its short tracks. Let's take a trip in time here now, and let's relive some of my personal favorite moments from short track racing. Number 10. Number 10 on my list isn't even necessarily from NASCAR at all. No, wait, stop! Don't turn the video off! Although it's not NASCAR related, in 2000 and 2001, NASCAR fans were treated to see their longtime Coliseum of Speed be transformed into a 140,000 seat dirt track as Bristol Motor Speedway did the unthinkable and hosted not just one, but two dirt track weekends in 2000 and 2001, including a weekend where they hosted the World of Outlaws on the high banks of Bristol. Hey iRacing, when can you finally add this to the track options, because I was too young to see this in person, and most likely we won't ever see this again at Bristol. Wait, what? Why wouldn't we? Well, simply put, it was too much trouble. In an article in the Knoxville News Sentinel, the biggest issue for Bristol was not adding the dirt surface, but rather cleaning it up. In fact, it wasn't even red clay being used as a surface like most dirt tracks in America. Bristol had to use something that would not leave permanent effects or at least hard to clean effects to the racing surface. In fact, the key ingredient they went with to make their surface was sawdust. But of course, if you're going to use enough sawdust dirt to cover the entire racing surface at Bristol and the garage area, you'll need a lot of trees and you'll need a lot of trucks. In fact, the article says that over 14,000 truckloads of dirt were used for this transformation. Consider then that they even had to remove all of this because Bristol Motor Speedway did still have two NASCAR weekends in 2000 and 2001. It's safe to say that unless iRacing gives us a chance to relive this amazing moment for NASCAR and dirt track fans alike was truly an amazing once-in-a-lifetime event to see. As an honorable mention, I wanted to put in how the truck series have been racing at the Eldora dirt track for a while. However, I just didn't quite think that it was going to be able to make this list with all of the other things that I have. I just felt like Bristol being turned into a dirt track was a little bit bigger of a thing.
And caution is on the speedway. There's Greg Hotnitt. He has some problems bringing out the caution from Roger Slack.
Number 9. Number 9 on my list brings us back to the year 2007. 2007. Doesn't seem that long ago, but my, how different things were. The iPhone first debuted, Britney Spears went off the deep end that I think she might have just now came back from, and NASCAR began a new generation of racing with the debut of the Car of Tomorrow. A project which began years prior went through trial and error, and although it was still not perfect as changes were made in 2010 and 2011, and then in 2013, we just got another new car. But that Car of Tomorrow finally made its debut in the 2007 Food City 500 at the Bristol Bristol Motor Speedway, and this race was actually a good one. It had plenty of excitement, and ultimately Kyle Busch was able to earn the first win in the Car of Tomorrow, his fourth of now many and growing wins in his career, and the 600th win for Chevy in the Cup Series. It may have taken Michael McDowell walking away from a death-defying crash at Texas in 2008 for people to know exactly why the Car of Tomorrow was needed for NASCAR.
That says so much for these race cars. It says so much for what these racetracks have done with this safer barrier. That is unbelievable.
But in 2007, the Car of Tomorrow debuted at Bristol, and I believe this one race created the Kyle Busch we see today, who is a threat to win every week, especially at Bristol. Number 8. Speaking of the Kyle Busch we know today, this moment here, I believe is why he and even Denny Hamlin first began to be booed during driver introductions.
Driver number 18, M&M's Toyota Camry. Y'all ready for the Kyle Busch show?
Let me paint a scenario for you. It's 2008 at Richmond in the spring. Denny Hamlin is your leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is turning the fastest laps of the race and looking for his first win with Hendrick Motorsports. Denny, Dale, and Kyle Busch go 3 wide for the lead as Hamlin has tire issues and Dale Jr. comes out with the lead. And then with 10 to go, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s lead was 1 second over Kyle Busch. But then, Denny Hamlin's right front goes out and he just stops intentionally on the middle of the track for the caution. This benefited his teammate Kyle Busch, and when Denny then drove off under caution, he was then penalized for those actions and had to stay behind for 2 laps, I think. Then, with 5 to go, we restart the race. Dale Jr. is finally close to winning for the first time in the 88 car. It starts off okay for Dale Jr., but Kyle Busch does begin to gain on him, and then it happened. With 3 laps to go, Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch were racing for the lead, and Kyle spun out and wrecked NASCAR's favorite driver. Whether it was intentional or not is up for debate.
Whether it's fair or not, he's going to need some security from all of us.
But in an instant, Kyle Busch became the most hated driver in NASCAR. However, karma always comes back to you, because as Kyle had to slow up, Clint Bowyer was able to get under the 18 car in his number 07 BB&T Chevy. And after the restart, Clint Bowyer would go on to win his first race in the Cup Series at Richmond. Then in the second Richmond race of 2008, Dale Jr. got himself a little bit of payback of his own when the roles were reversed and Dale Jr. spun out Kyle Busch halfway through the race, battling for the lead. Although that should have closed the book, NASCAR fans love to hold on to the past forever, and today, Kyle Busch is still one of the most hated drivers in NASCAR.
Brad Keselowski, driver of the Penske Racing Dodge. Kyle Busch is an
But maybe not the most hated right now because of what's next. Number 7. Is there just something about Virginia that creates hated drivers or something? Because this is almost identical to what happened in number 8. This one is more recent though. In the fall race at Martinsville in 2017, Chase Elliott found himself in the lead and close to winning his first career race. But then, on a restart with a few laps to go, Virginia native Denny Hamlin drove into turn 3 on Elliott's bumper and around went Elliott. When the race restarted, everyone oddly enough was happy that Kyle Busch got around Hamlin and won, while Hamlin ended the race in a big crash.
Front stretch.
Elliott is still looking for his first win as of this recording, and Hamlin may very well likely be the most hated driver in NASCAR right now.
A dirty veteran. Learn how to drive.
As this moment made Chase Elliott the new most popular driver in NASCAR in my opinion, with Dale Jr. now retired. Number 6. Number 6 takes us from the last name Elliott to the first name Elliott, and it takes us to the year 2001. In the 2001 Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway, we were left with a number of storylines for that race. Elliott Sadler, driving in the Wood Brothers Racing Team Motorcraft Ford in the historic number 21, took that team back to victory lane for the first time since Morgan Shepherd did so at Atlanta in 1993, and it was also the first of 3 wins in Sadler's Cup Series career. Meanwhile, as Sadler came off to get the win, Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart created a lot of drama in this race. Jeff Gordon went low trying to pass Stewart, but Stewart went lower, and Tony was not happy about it one bit after the race when it made him spin out and lose 3rd place. Tony would go on and spin a 24 car around in the pits, simply showing off more of the drama that made Bristol Motor Speedway famous. But after this, let's still remember Elliott Sadler's first win with the Wood Brothers. It would be their last win until the 2011 Daytona 500 with Trevor Bayne.
It's good enough to win, boys. I tell you, we're in victory lane at Bristol. We get to go to the Winston. We're going to win the Winston in Charlotte. We're going to win that one, too. All right, go get them. We had more fireworks at the end of the race.
Number 5. Number 5 brings us back to Bristol Motor Speedway. I feel like that's a recurring theme here, sorry about that. Anyways, in 2012 at the Bristol Motor Speedway night race, I feel like we saw the last truly good Bristol race there in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, it's still Bristol baby, but this race I feel was the last one that truly had it all. Denny Hamlin won the race, drivers like Brian Vickers and Marcus Ambrose finished in the top 5, and this race had drama. Danica Patrick and Regan Smith had issues and she voiced her displeasure with him, but then Regan Smith actually won her number 7 car in the Nationwide Series the following year. So yeah, we'll just debate on who really did better in the long run. However, the big drama happened between Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth. The two had been in the front all race long, and then Tony did a crossover move on Kenseth, and then Kenseth got another run down the backstretch, but drove it too hard in turns 3 and 4, and into 2 would spin and crash, battling for the lead. What happened afterwards though is what really made this race famous. Instead of climbing into the ambulance, in typical Tony Stewart fashion, he waited for Kenseth to drive around pit lane and he threw his helmet square at Matt Kenseth's hood, and the place went wild that night. I was there that night and it reminded NASCAR fans of why we love short track racing and why we love Bristol Motor Speedway. Number 4. Number 4 takes us back over to Martinsville Speedway in 2007. In another short track race with these new cars of tomorrow, Jimmy Johnson and teammate Jeff Gordon were locked in probably one of the most competitive side-by-side racing you'll ever see at a short track, especially by teammates. Coming out of turn number 4, Jeff Gordon gives Johnson a bump, but he couldn't complete the run. Side-by-side 4 to win, and Jimmy Johnson got the win over his teammate Jeff Gordon. Meanwhile, their teammate Kyle Busch would also finish in 4th. This was probably one of my personal favorite races at Martinsville, even more so than the one I actually got to go see. I just don't think in this day and age we're really going to get to see much of that same aggressive short track racing by teammates anymore, and that race was truly one to remember with the finish.
Richmond, Darlington, and Bristol. How about Jimmy Johnson?
Number 3. Number 3 comes from a track that we sadly no longer get to see anymore in NASCAR, and it happened in 2001, 1 week after the tragic death of the driver of the number 3, Dale Earnhardt. With the events that happened the week before, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated just could not celebrate their driver Michael Waltrip's first win at the Daytona 500, but they still had to go racing, and that brought the team to Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina that week. The race started off not too well for the team though, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. crashed in the early laps of this race.
This cannot be happening to that young man.
However, in the closing laps of the race, the driver of DEI's number 1 car, Steve Park, found himself in the lead with a chance to win, but he had veteran driver Bobby Labonte running him down very fast. In an amazing close finish, Steve Park managed to hang on and win his 2nd career Cup Series race, and the 2nd consecutive win for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and that team enjoyed every moment of that win. That was one truly for Dale. That team really needed that victory.
Wave to the crowd, jumps on the roof, high flies all around. Oh, he dives, he dives.
It's a mosh pit. It's a mosh pit.
Number 2. Speaking of Dale Earnhardt, how could he not be on this list? After all, he got his very first victory of his famous career here. On September 9th, 1995, the world was blessed with this future NASCAR fanatic. But 2 weeks prior, Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte were battling it out in Thunder Valley in Bristol, Tennessee in the Goodies 500. Now, the Intimidator had already made an enemy once already with Rusty Wallace that night, as he was known to do. A lot. He had a chrome horn and he knew how to use it. Now, Dale Earnhardt did receive a black flag for this incident with Wallace and had to fight his way back to the front, and he did. But on a restart, he actually ran into the back bumper of Derek Cope and got significant damage from it, but he still found himself in second to Terry Labonte with 1 to go. Labonte was being seriously slowed down by lap traffic, but Dale wasn't. Off of turn 4, Dale Earnhardt went low and Labonte threw the block on him, and Labonte got loose and went for a spin, but he still got the win. Labonte took a smashed Cornflakes car to victory lane that night, and Dale Earnhardt finished in 2nd place.
To go, and Dale ran in the back of me, and I think I ran the side of one of them, but that's about all you could do at that point.
And number 1. So what could possibly be better than Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte at Bristol in 1995? Well, how about Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte at Bristol in 1999? That's right, it happened again, only this time, Dale Earnhardt took the win. Dale had the lead, but Labonte was clearly the faster car. Labonte nudged Dale a little bit, and he managed to get around Dale with 2 laps to go for the lead, but As they came off of turn number 2, Dale nudged back.
Didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rally his cage, Joe.
Dale Earnhardt scored his 9th career victory at Bristol Motor Speedway, and Terry Labonte once again had a smashed up cornflakes Chevy.
There will be talk about this one for a long time.
That they will be, sir, and they still are, and they hated Dale Earnhardt that night. But now in 2018, this is probably not only the best moment in NASCAR short track racing, but also the most Dale Earnhardt of Dale Earnhardt moments. It will indeed be talked about for a long time. And that is my list of the top 10 short track racing moments for NASCAR. Does that get you excited for short track racing yet? Get on down to your local dirt track for a Saturday night money race. Mine's opening up this weekend. I may just have to go out and watch the races. And my local remote control oval opens up soon, so I could actually start racing some. Martinsville and Bristol are also very soon on the NASCAR schedule. So get excited and relive the excitement that is short track racing. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you give this video a like, drop a comment down below of your favorite moments for short track racing in NASCAR, and make sure you hit the subscribe button harder than a driver's hit on a short track. I'll see you in the future. Goodbye for now.